Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Smart Money. Now, did you know that India witnesses roughly 23,000 cyber crimes a day as per FCRF, which is a startup incubated by IIT in Kanpur? 77% of the cyber crimes today are financial frauds, out of which 50% of them are UPI related. Now, according to the Ministry of Finance, more than 95,000 fraud cases linked to UPI transactions were recorded in 2023 alone. Cyber Detectives is an initiative to spread awareness about digital safety in India, and we have the two young minds behind it, Anuj Jain Krish, here with us today on Smart Money. We also have Dr. Meet Shah of Cyber Matrix, which is a cyber forensic expert and consultancy firm dealing with such crimes and how to execute the recovery process. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here. I really appreciate your time because, this is a space that has garnered a lot of interest now. And as we know, everyone is suffering from, a lot of these cyber crimes. So first, let's talk about digital safety. Krish, let me begin with you. Tell us, what are the numbers looking like now? What is the situation that we're at? And what do your viewers need to know?
Correct. So India right now is going through a rapid phase of digitalization, while at the same time the digital literacy in the country is very low, as people are newly getting accustomed to using technology, internet and the overall infrastructure. So with this causes a huge problem, right? Because people are not sure about certain messages that they get. People are not sure how to use certain platforms. And this can become a very big problem for the country, and hence we want to make sure that India understands digital safety, and with that we are also able to save money for people because every year in India around 33% of the people are prone to online scams.
Yeah. And out of the 33%, a lot of it I'm sure is the older generation as well, right? Our parents that constantly get these calls, and there are a lot of scams doing the rounds. So tell us about UPI scams. I want to start with that because it's the hot topic now and it's so prevalent, right? What are the numbers looking like, and what are the scams that I need to be aware of? Anuj, let me start with you.
Thank you for that question. So that's a very important topic actually. India has more than 330 million UPI users. And there are so many UPI scams to talk about. There are people who say that they say they have credited you money, but they haven't. And at times they want to deposit money to your account, but they send you QR links that you're supposed to scan, and which are again a fraud scam. But I'll tell you the most prevalent scam right now that's going on. So this scam is, interestingly enough, you actually get credited with real amount of money. So we have seen this about you get money around 2,000 to 2,500 rupees deposited in your account. And what happens next is, they would ask you the money back. And as good citizens, you would want to give the money back. But they wouldn't ask you the money in the regular fashion. They would send you a separate fishy link. And what happens is, if you click on this fishy link, you would be redirected to a page which would look like your UPI app page, or which would look like Google Pay kind of page. But there, if you enter your OTP or your UPI PIN, these details would get shared with the hackers and they can hack your account very easily.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So you're saying they start by depositing money in my account, and then they call me and then they ask, tell me, oh, the money is in your account. Can you send it back to me? And hence the scam starts. Okay.
Exactly.
What else? Through the UPI route, where else can I get scammed?
So yeah, there are multiple ways they would do it. So there are new loopholes they keep coming up with. For example, if of late they tried this one scam where they would send you a message which would look like the paid message of Google Pay. So, it would look like with the exact emoticons, and it would replicate the very same behavior that Google Pay would give you. So you would actually think the money is credited to you, but it's not. They would also send you fishy links of apps which would look like APK files of, that are UPI related apps, but they are not.
Oh,
there's one other interesting scam, which we have seen actually happening in Gujarat too, where, they have put fake QR codes over the existing QR codes of the shopkeepers. And what would happen is you scan their QR code, but the money would actually go to the scammer's account. Yeah.
But you would think that any QR code that you use in a shop is a genuine QR code. So how do you sort of protect yourself from that scam, Krish?
Correct. So first thing that you need to see is you need to verify. So there's always a name that comes when you scan a QR code. So maybe you ask the shopkeeper first that if the name is matching with the shopkeeper's name, or if there's some other name, just verify it with the shopkeeper. If everything works, then you only send the money. And also a lot of time people don't realize that in order to receive money, you don't need to scan any QR code. So the same thing is happening. So there are a lot of platforms like OLX and Quicker, right, where people are trying to sell goods online or their home articles online. What happens generally is that, let's say I put my fridge on these platforms, right, and I suddenly get an offer. Let's say I put my fridge for 35,000 rupees. I suddenly get an offer of 35,000 rupees only without any negotiation.
Okay.
And then the person tells me that you scan this QR code and you will receive your money. Now, as a informed citizen, you should know that if you want to receive money from anyone, you don't need to scan any QR code. QR code is only required to be scanned when you need to pay money to someone.
That is really important. Actually, even I didn't know this, you know, that of course you use the QR code to make so many payments, but in order to receive money, never ever scan a QR code. Got it. Now we have Dr. Meet also here, and he runs Cyber Matrix, which ties up with a lot of the state governments, the state police of different states, in order to do interrogation, consultancy, and eventually recovery of scams as well. So Dr. Meet, tell us about, you know, your profile and how many of these UPI scams that these folks are talking about. What is the recovery rate like?
The recovery rate is like, if we see out of 10, we are able to recover more than 7 of the accounts.
Okay.
There are a few of the things that are to be kept in the mind. Like if there is some fraud happening with someone, so as a victim, that is a recommendation that they should come as soon as possible. Because if they come into the guidelines of 24 to 48 hours, we are able to make the investigation more powerful. We are able to investigate it. We are able to submit it on time, and we can get them the recovery back.
Okay, I do want to talk about more scams. So we've talked about the UPI scams, right? The next thing is crypto scams. Now, if you want to just briefly tell us, Anuj, about these scams and what we should be aware of.
Oh yeah, so with the crypto wave, a lot of scammers took advantage of the crypto scams too. There's so many Telegram channels where they, they do this pump and dump kind of schemes. They do it with even mutual funds, and now they moved in with crypto, where they would promise you huge gains. And the way they do it is they would first enroll you to some fake crypto trading platform, and that crypto trading platforms are designed in a way that would reflect prices very similar to the original prices. So when you trade on those platforms, it might seem that you're trading on real platforms, but what might happen is you might be trading on the prices that they have dictated, and you would see huge number of gains. And you would keep investing money into these trading platforms, but when you try to withdraw the money back, you wouldn't be able to.
Okay, that's about crypto scams. I want to talk about the next one, which is these AnyDesk link bank scams, right? And bank scams are huge these days. Almost every other day you get a call from some bank executive asking you for your details, make this payment, make that payment, and half of them are fraud. So tell us, what is this AnyDesk link bank scam, and how can I safeguard myself and my family from it?
Right. So there are a lot of fake call centers running all over the country, right? And what happens is that, let's say I get stuck on my laptop due to some reason, some transaction is not working on my laptop, there is some sort of virus that has come in place. So what I do is I go to Google and I search for helpline numbers that can help me, go pass through it. What happens is that most of these numbers that we see on the Google, they are fraud numbers. By that I mean that most of them get connected to the wrong people. What then happens is that they then tell you, okay, we can solve your query. You just need to download AnyDesk application or some APK file on your phone, and then we will take over and we will resolve it and we will send it back to you, and we will uninstall that app. But what happens is that when they let you download these applications, they have the full access to your mobile phone. They have the full access to your personal laptop. And most of the time it ends up happening that they use it not in the right manner. And in some or the other cases, you end up losing a lot of money because they have all the accesses.
But tell me, if somebody wants to scam you using the UPI or the Bheem app, there is your own PIN code that you have, right? There's not only an OTP, there's your own PIN code as well. So, or that 4-digit lock that you put.
Right.
How can people surpass that?
Right. So what is happening right now is that there's this thing called call forwarding and message forwarding. Right. So some stranger might come to you and they will ask you for your mobile, because then they will tell you that they want to dial to their friends or families or someone of their relatives. And then what they'll do is they'll dial this number called *401* followed by your number. What this will do is that this will forward all your calls and messages to their number. And now what will happen is that any messages that you receive or calls you receive, that automatically get redirected to their number. And then
you wouldn't know that that's happening.
Correct. But there is a way to check that. So basically you need to dial *#21# to check if your calls and messages are getting forwarded or not. If they are getting forwarded, then you can again dial #002# to disable all the call and message forwardings.
Okay, this is interesting. So, you want to jump in on that? I mean, there are so many different ways. There are these loan scams as well that are out there. Tell us a little bit about that and what our viewers need to be aware of.
Right. So of late, what has happened is in this micro lending kind of environment, there are so many apps that have cropped up, and that would give you loans of any amount, even amount as small as 500 rupees without any collateral. Now, as you know, nothing is free in life, right? So here you are the price that you'll have to pay. So what these apps do is they take a lot of access from your phone. They take your contacts access. They would take your photos access, right? And what happens is when you even if you want to pay back the loan, they would incur you with so many extra charges. And once you refuse to pay, they would call all your contacts. They would blackmail you. They might even morph your photos and upload them online. And they would keep harassing you till you pay that exorbitant price.
So what's the right way to take the loan? Then just stay away from all of these kind of fraudulent loan sites and just go to the larger ones. I mean, how do you know which is which?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. So you can check for the companies if they're registered with RBI. They should be very much safe, and never download any loan apps which take your access for contacts and photos.
Okay. There's another thing, right? Krish had told me before the show that never download any app that's not registered on
Play Store or App Store.
On the Play Store or the App Store. That's important. So, do you see a lot of frauds to do with that as well?
Right. So as I mentioned, there is this APK files that get forwarded on WhatsApp and Telegram and everywhere. So these files tell you that you can get better apps by clicking on these links. But what happens is those apps already have permissions to your entire phone once you download those links. So it is very much important that you guys or everybody in the country don't ever install such applications that seem fishy or are not registered on App Store or Play Store.
Okay, guys, don't download any apps that are not registered on the App Store or Play Store. Don't scan a QR code if you want to receive money. A QR code is only scanned in order to send money to someone, and many more such digital safety tools that we're going to give you. But we need to take a short commercial break. We'll come back in a bit. Welcome back to Smart Money. We're talking about digital safety today. There is so much by way of online scams that are happening. So we thought we'd get three guys who focus on this space in a big way. Anuj and Krish from Cyber Detectives are here with us, and we also have Dr. Meet Shah of Cyber Matrix. They all deal with digital safety, and we've been talking about the several scams that you should be aware of. Anuj, before the break, we were talking about different kinds of scams, right? But there's one more which is doing the rounds, which is AI voice and video cloning scam. Now, there's this whole deep fake controversy as well. So tell us from a layman's standpoint, what should I be aware of?
Right. So these are scams that we should be really careful about because these are very new to the market and very few people are aware about it. So what happens in a typical voice cloning scam is you would get a call from an unknown number that would sound very much like your friend or your family member or some relative. And usually they would be in a very high sense of urgency. They would maybe claim that, okay, they are in some hospital and they would ask you that, they need some urgent amount of money. Can we deposit them at so-and-so account? Now, because they would sound exactly like your relative or your friend, you would be tempted to do so. And this is all possible because of AI nowadays. All our videos, all our clips are there out online, right? And there are models which can learn the same voice as yours, and then the hackers would, whatever they want to speak, they can clone that in the voice of your relative or your friend. Now, what happens in this case is you would think, okay, this sounds exactly like my friend, and they're in high sense of urgency, so why not deposit the money? And that's how they scam you.
Oh, wow. But have you seen rising instances of this? In fact, let me ask Dr. Meet, have you seen rising instances of AI-related scams?
We did. Actually, this is a phase where we are entering Web 3.0, which is all about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So scammers these days, they don't talk on the phone. They use those automated systems and artificial intelligence to scam people. Like recently we had one case where a person is getting a call from bank saying it is some particular bank and not name the bank.
Sure.
So it was some particular bank and they just asked for input like what language do you want to select. For English you have to choose 1, for Hindi you have to choose 2. So as that person chose Hindi, he tapped number 1, right? So then what happened exactly was that it was not an actual scam. He actually got his e-mandate approved by the scammer using that call.
Oh, wow.
So we actually are facing such new scams. Even we are figuring out what are the ways to encounter them right now.
I know everybody's learning along the way,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I mean, this is all so new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is basically a technological field and we have to be updated with certain things and there are certain awareness that people have to keep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that through AI-related scams, I might get a call. Somebody might sound like my relative asking me for my data and I should not give them that. Anything else AI-related that you'd want to talk about?
So I think future of scams are going to be AI related only. And the bigger problem here is that even if we become aware of such scams, the modus operandi of the scams keep changing. So today, if I'm seeing voice cloning happening, tomorrow I'll see a video cloning tool or bot on Telegram, and people are using this today also. So basically, my point is that this modus operandi will keep on changing, and hence it is very important that we are continuously aware about what sort of new things are coming in the market and how people are getting scammed. And AI is a topic where you constantly have to understand and keep yourself updated as to what are the new technological advancements.
Okay. I want to also quickly touch upon bank scams because there are so many of these, messages that come to you saying, oh, you need to update your KYC. So, contact so-and-so person, an ICICI bank or whoever, XX bank will sort of message you saying that, oh, your details are not there. Somebody has debited this amount from your account, etc. What do you believe and what do you not believe? Anuj?
Right. So I think that's again very tricky for usual folks, but advice that Krish gave comes very handy of using only the apps that are from App Store or Play Store. So what happens in these kind of frauds is they would send you a link to the app saying your KYC has to be updated. And if you try to download the app from those links, it's not going to be the real app, right? It's going to be a fake app which would take access from your phone, and that can read your SMS, that can forward your SMS, and that can do all kind of nefarious things. Now here, that is where advice comes that if you know that the apps have to be only downloaded from App Store and Play Store, they do some vigilance, they do strict checking that what these apps are for, and are they for the right purposes, are they for the right company? So you can trust them blindly.
Okay,
And just to add on to that, government is also doing a lot in order to ensure that people in India are digitally safe. For example, they recently removed a lot of applications from Play Store because they were violating certain guidelines. They removed a lot of loan applications which were Chinese-funded loan applications. And so in some or the other way, they are now also partnering with SEBI in order to make sure that the right set of financial information is being disseminated.
Oh, absolutely. The government is doing a lot. SEBI is doing a lot for investor protection as well, right? And this is, of course, one area. I also want to talk about courier scams. And you were telling me about one such courier scam earlier, which is, it's quite scary. So just inform our viewers about that as well.
So this is a very interesting scam that is happening recently. What happens is that you get a call from a courier company. And then they tell you that they have found certain illegal substances under your name in one of the parcels. Now you as a normal citizen get very scared about after listening to this, and then they give you all sort of proof regarding this. So they tell you your own Aadhaar number, they verify it in front of you. They also connect you to the deputy commissioner of that particular locality, and the commissioner comes on a video call in uniform, but the problem there is that it is not the real commissioner. There is some fraudster who basically, some imposter who basically tries to fraud you. And then they tell you that they'll close the case if you transfer XYZ amount into their account. Okay. So they bribe you they ask for bribe from 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. And as soon as you pay that bribe, you will never hear back from them. So this is something, and it happens very quickly. So they create a sense of urgency, and as soon as you are there, they will leave.
I think creating panic and creating fears, two things that they try to do. So perhaps you should just take a step back and try and assess, right?
That's a very good advice. I think they try to capture this urgency, and because of this urgency, you don't think as much what's happening. So if you, as you correctly said, if you take a step back and assess the situation, consult with your family and friends, you wouldn't face yourself in such situations.
Okay, we don't have too much time. I want to understand this work from home phishing scam. What is it?
Right. So in fact, even recently, a few months ago, they cracked this 700 crore rupee scam in Hyderabad, and that was also part of this work from home scam. So what would happen is you would get messages that, do you want to work part-time from home, and we would pay you good amount of money, say 3K to 5K a day. And what would they make you do is, if you enroll into such scam, they would ask you to do very simple tasks. They would ask you to rate YouTube videos. They would ask you to like Instagram pages. And initially, they would credit some amount of money to you. They would credit 300 rupees, 500 rupees to your account. Then they would move you to a Telegram channel. And then they would make you do many tasks at a very short amount of time, right? And they would keep adding money to your wallet, but they wouldn't actually give it to you. And later on, they would ask you to do investments where they would promise you huge amount of gains. And as soon as you start doing those investments, you would never get those money back.
Okay. Well, folks, thank you so much for educating us. I mean, there were so many scams that you spoke about that I was not even aware of. And I'm sure our viewers will also benefit from it. Digital safety is a very, very important part of, your financial plan, your financial goals. And not just digital safety, I feel like overall financial safety. And you want to just end with how, what is your aim and how you plan to sort of increase awareness about digital safety online?
Right. So from childhood times, we have always been advised and guided that on how not to be scammed from pickpocketers, how not to accept food articles from unknown strangers, right? But we are living in a modern world, right? And things are now changing. So of course, that all sort of guidance is very helpful. But now we also have to see how can we be safe online. So I think it is our responsibility to spread the right set of information and other guidelines as to how you can be digitally safe, and not just for ourselves, but for our family, for our friends and our relatives who are relatively new to the world of technology.
All right. Thanks a lot. We're all, I guess, new to the world of technology. We're learning by the hour, right? Thanks a lot for joining us. With that, it is curtains down on another special edition of Smart Money. Have a great weekend.